Yo, check this out. Today we're watching 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. We're about to learn about all of the 7 ancient wonders. Try not to get educated. Let's go. Alright, here's the first one.
A giant bronze statue standing at the entrance of the Greek city of Rhodes.
Dude, that's dope.
Built over 2,300
That's
years ago.
huge.
It was an incredible
Look at the
achievement
houses
at the time.
behind.
However, it was only standing for 56 years before tragically collapsing.
Aw.
In this video,
What
I
happened?
explain all 7 wonders of the ancient world.
Dope.
All from the incredible hanging gardens of Babylon to the
Okay.
enormous lighthouse of Alexandria.
I didn't
and
know
of
this
course,
one.
The amazing story
knew about the Hanging
behind
Gardens.
Colossus of Rhodes. A story
Okay.
including 900 camels and an incredible amount of money. But
Yeah, it
first,
seems like
let's
it.
talk about the only of the 7 ancient wonders of the world that's still standing.
Wait, really?
The Great Pyramid of Giza
I thought they were
was
still-
the tallest structure on Earth for over 3,800 years.
Whoa.
From when it was built in 2600 BC to the Lincoln Cathedral was finished in 1311.
Oh my
The
god.
pyramid was built with approximately 2.3 million stone blocks. Each
I think
weighing
aliens
between
did it, bro.
2.5 and 15 tons. The lightest stones weighed roughly the same as a Tesla Cybertruck. The pyramid is nearly 147
I can't believe
meters
that.
high and covers more than 50,000 square meters at its base. But the pyramid wasn't
Oh
just
my God.
massive, it was built with incredible precision.
Yeah, I heard
All
about
major
this.
pyramids in Egypt are
They like
actually
line
aligned
up with
to
the
true
stars and
north.
stuff.
For the Great Pyramid of Giza, each of its 4 sides faces north, south, east, and west by less than 1/10 of a degree.
Wow.
Some stones
How did they-
inside
did they
the
have
pyramid
compasses?
Are so precisely cut that a sheet of paper cannot fit between them. But how
What?
did they build such an incredible structure like this 4,600
Yeah,
years
how?
ago? First, what is really the
Let's
ancient
see. I'm about to
wonders
get
of
so
the world?
educated.
When referring to the ancient wonders of the world, most people refer to the list from 1572, with detailed illustrations of each wonder.
Okay.
However, this is their illustration of the pyramids.
Huh?
And as you can see, it's not really accurate.
What?
They clearly based it on old descriptions, not
Oh.
first-hand reports.
Whoa.
The list actually traces back
Cool.
over 1,500 years before that. The document is called Laticuli Alexandrini and included multiple lists,
What?
such as the 7 tallest mountains, 7 greatest generals, the 7 greatest artists, and of course, the 7 wonders of the
Dude, they
world.
love 7.
It originated
Okay.
around 200 BC in Alexandria, the center of knowledge and the capital of Egypt at the time.
Huh.
Back in Giza, Pharaoh Khufu
Capital of
ordered a
Egypt?
tomb to be built. It was going to be the greatest and most secure structure ever to exist.
Yeah.
A place for Khufu's body to rest and secure his treasures for eternity. He gathered 25,000
Imagine being so rich. Workers.
and started the construction that would take 20 years to finish. Inside the
Dude.
pyramid, multiple tombs were built at different levels, and the biggest of them was the King's Chamber, the final resting place for Pharaoh Khufu. But how did they build the
Hella
Great
gold in
Pyramid
there and
of
stuff,
Giza?
dude.
Multiple theories exist, but no exact method is agreed upon. This topic could be an entire video on its own. So for
True.
this video, I'll focus on the most widely accepted theories.
Okay, what do you guys think?
First, they'd need the materials to build the pyramid. A huge amount
Right.
of limestone and granite was needed. Most
So
of these
much,
stones
dude.
came from local mines, but inside the king's chamber, a different kind of stone was used. The king's chamber was built using red granite, with blocks of stone weighing up to 80 tons each.
How?
That's roughly the weight of a Boeing 737.
How did they
Not
carry
only
that
did
around?
The Egyptians have to move these stones with human force.
Like that?
They imported them from the opposite end of the Nile River. The red granite came from
Nah.
Aswan, a city over 800 kilometers away. That's nearly the same distance as driving from Los Angeles to Las Vegas and back again. These massive
Bro.
stones are believed to have been transported along the Nile River.
How does
Once
it
the ground
float
was
though
level,
if it's so big? That's
construction could
crazy.
begin. The most common theory is that the Egyptians built massive earthen ramps, either straight ramps or ramps with angled turns. Other suggestions include this ramp, built around the pyramid itself. The ramps
Okay.
could be no more than 8 degrees for the workers to comfortably move the stone blocks using ropes, poles, and sleds.
How many people were
However,
carrying
none
it,
of
bro?
these methods alone could have been used for the
Like
entire construction.
hundreds.
The ramps would need to be impossibly long or too steep to reach the top.
Mm-hmm.
Another theory is that the Egyptians leveraged the Grand Gallery to help them move the stones weighing up to 80 tons.
What does that
By
mean?
building a straight ramp halfway up the pyramid, the workers created a path for the heaviest stones. They connected each stone to a counterweight inside the Grand Gallery. This would allow the Egyptians to leverage physics, making the heavy blocks easier to move.
Dude, they were
No
so
single
smart.
explanation has been proven, and the mystery is part of what makes the pyramid so spectacular.
True, bro. True. Okay, let's see what the next one was. That's pretty dope. I think the pyramids are pretty sick. What do you guys think about them? Let's find out what the next one
The Great
is.
Pyramid of Giza is the only one still standing.
Right?
But for the next one, experts disagree whether it even existed or not.
What?
The Hanging Gardens of Babylon was described as a huge garden.
I thought there were,
built
like,
high
pictures
above
of it,
stone
bruh.
walls. Trees and large plants grew high above ground.
Okay.
And water flowed down from one level to the next. No ruins have been discovered to prove its existence. And to add to the mystery, some authors describe the garden in great detail, while other famous historians who visited Babylon never mentioned the garden.
Huh.
And it turns out that the Hanging Garden of Babylon might not have been in Babylon at all. But first, let's look at what made
Okay.
it so impressive.
Yeah.
The
it
garden
looks
was described as a square stone
cool, I
structure
guess.
built with multiple raised levels. Each terrace had to hold tons of soil and stones without leaking or collapsing. A nearby
Oh.
aqueduct transported water into the garden.
Dude,
When the
they
water
were
reached
crazy
the garden,
back in the
some
day,
ancient
bro.
stories claim that a device similar to the Archimedes screw lifted water to each level.
What?
The screw worked by capsuling a spiral inside a bronze tube. By rotating the spiral
Oh.
inside, water would be pushed upward to the next level.
Nah.
This would have allowed water to reach the top of the garden, then flow down every terrace,
That's
keeping the
dope.
entire garden alive and also creating a spectacular
Dude, they were
view.
so smart,
The
bro.
only problem is that the Archimedes screw wasn't invented until 350 years later.
Oh?
To try to solve the mystery of where the Hanging Gardens was located, we need to ask who built the gardens.
True.
There are two theories. Some claim the gardens were built by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II around
Oh.
600 BC. According to the story, he built it for his wife Ametis. She
Aw.
came from a green, mountainous homeland and missed the forests and hills
Dude,
of her
that's
old home.
dope.
The
He
garden
loves
was
his
said
wife.
to be a gift, a way to bring her homeland to the flat landscape
Aw.
of Babylon. No record confirms this, yet the story has survived for
I believe
more
it.
than 2,000 years.
That's it. That's the
The
story.
second theory is that the garden was actually located in the ancient city of Sin, Nineveh in Iraq. Nineveh was a bigger and older city compared to Babylon, and the Assyrian king Sennacherib designed the city with advanced water systems. Inscriptions describe vast gardens, artificial canals, and advanced plumbing. Water was
Wow.
carried more than 50 kilometers from the mountains through aqueducts, including a stone aqueduct that still exists today.
What?
Some
Dude, I can't
Assyrian
believe
sources
this stuff,
also
dude.
describes Nineveh as Old Babylon, and the whole region as Babylonia. Nineveh's advanced plumbing
Ah.
leads some experts to believe that Nineveh was the true location
Wow.
of the Hanging Gardens, while others find it more likely that the garden actually was in Babylon. The author of the book Seven Wonders of the Ancient World, Bettany Hughes, has a different theory. Maybe the title was never meant to be The Hanging Garden of Babylon, but instead The Hanging Gardens of Babylonia.
Oh.
Although the Hanging Garden of Babylon's
think
existence
there was multiple
is
of 'em,
disputed,
okay.
the next ancient wonder of the world
Okay.
is well documented. and
Okay, let's
it
see
was
the next
huge.
one.
Surrounded only by ocean in all directions, you finally see a light on the horizon. After days at sea, you're closing in on the largest
That's
city
dope.
in the ancient world, an important trading hub connecting ancient Greece to the Nile Valley.
Dude, I would love to
This
live
is the
back
city
then, bruh.
founded by none other
No
than
phones,
Alexander the Great.
nothing.
The light guiding you safely towards shore is the Lighthouse of Alexandria.
That's dope.
Originally called the Pharos, the
They didn't
Lighthouse
have
of
lights, they
Alexandria
was just using
massive
fire
in
at the
size.
top.
Compared to a lighthouse in the 21st century,
Right?
the Pharos was up to 3 times the height.
Oh,
It was one of the
snap.
tallest man-made structures for centuries.
How did they do
excluding
that?
The pyramids. To achieve this height, the lighthouse consisted of 3 levels: a square base,
That's
an
like the
octagonal
first
middle,
skyscraper
and
ever,
a
bruh.
cylindrical top, crowned with a statue. The
That's
statue might
dope.
have represented Zeus, the king of the Greek gods, or Poseidon, the
Yeah, he's
god
got
of
a
the
little
sea.
this
Inside the
thing,
lighthouse,
Poseidon thing.
historians believe a large mirror was used to reflect
Oh.
light and guide nearby ships. During the day, the lighthouse reflected sunlight,
That's smart.
and by night, a massive fire guided ships approaching the harbor. Some stories claim that the lighthouse could be seen from over 50 kilometers away.
Wow.
The Lighthouse of Alexandria was so famous that its name became universal. Pharos became the word for lighthouse in Greek, French, Spanish, and many other languages.
Wow.
Between the years 900 and 1300, several strong earthquakes hit Alexandria.
No.
Piece by piece, the lighthouse collapsed. The
That's
stones
sad,
and ruins
actually,
were
bro.
later reused to build a medieval fortress on the same island where the lighthouse once stood.
Huh.
The lighthouse
That's
of
cool.
Alexandria survived for over 1,500 years, and while we know what happened
That's
to the
crazy.
lighthouse, historians are not exactly sure what happened to this next wonder.
What is this one?
The statue of Zeus was a giant statue of the Greek god seated on a throne.
I never seen this
The
one
famous
before.
sculptor Phidias created the statue
He's
around
hideous.
435 BC in the hometown of the original Olympic Games, Olympia.
The
statue
Olympic
of Zeus
Games.
was so tall.
Wait, that's where it comes from? The Olympic Games comes from Olympia in Greece. That's dope. We're learning so
almost
much, bro.
touched
This
the
video is
temple
sick.
ceiling. Standing around 12 meters.
That's
the
huge. I
statue
want to
was
see like
made
a
from
person
large
next to it.
quantities of gold and ivory. Some sources describe a reflecting pool of oil placed in front of the statue,
Wow.
making it appear even taller. The statue was seen as both extremely expensive and beautifully made. For example, the
Yeah,
philosopher
dude.
Epictetus believed one could only die happy after witnessing the statue of Zeus. So how could
That's
something
crazy.
so
He's
beautiful
riding.
just disappear? Historians aren't entirely sure what happened to the statue. One theory suggests the statue was destroyed by earthquakes around year 522 in Olympia, but no ruins remain to confirm this. However, an 11th century historian claimed Emperor Theodosius I moved the statue from Olympia to Constantinople, the
How?
city that would later become modern-day Istanbul.
How do you move
Around
something
year
that big so
391,
far, bro?
Emperor Theodosius I introduced Christianity, making the statue of the Greek god not welcome in Olympia. Its new home was allegedly in the palace of Lausos,
Bro,
owned
that's
by a
crazy.
high-ranking
It's a work of
official
art, bro.
and
You can't
art
just-
collector. Later, the statue is believed to have been destroyed in a fire in Constantinople during the 5th century.
all that
The
gold.
statue of Zeus was huge, but
Yeah.
this next wonder wasn't just big.
Okay.
It was arguably the largest
see
Greek
this one.
temple ever built.
Oh, okay.
The ruins of the Temple of Artemis stand in modern-day
Temple of
Turkey,
Artemis.
in the historic city of Ephesus. The temple was constructed entirely of marble. This
Wow.
was more than a
Dude,
place
that's
of worship.
beautiful, bro.
Temple of Artemis served as a center for religion, banking, and a shelter for refugees. Kings, cities, and ordinary people stored their money here.
How did they
It
do
became known
this,
as
bro?
the Bank of Asia, making it an influential building before it was tragically destroyed. However, the temple is said to have survived for up to 600 years, and unlike
Wow.
the other wonders, the Temple of Artemis was destroyed and rebuilt multiple times.
Huh.
The temple's exact construction date is unknown, but the
Okay.
first version is believed to have been destroyed by a flood in the 7th century BC.
Wow.
200 years later, the temple was rebuilt. Its size was about the same as a football field.
Dude.
6 years later, on the day Alexander the Great was born, a man obsessed with being written into history lit the temple on fire. The Temple of Artemis,
what did that
but
say?
being written into history.
Image and name censored to avoid fulfilling the perpetrator's motive. So basically, this guy's whole goal, whoever this was to become famous just for being bad. So this guy, he didn't actually show his face so that he can't be famous. Yeah, screw that guy, bro. You ruined a perfect piece of art, bro. That'll never be able to happen again, bro. If it was built again today, it wouldn't be as special because like we could do that easy. But like back then, it was hard to do that stuff, and you had to be super smart. Bro, screw this guy,
temple
actually.
on fire. The temple
He
of
lit it on
Artemis
fire.
burned to the ground. Later, Alexander the Great offered to fund the reconstruction, but the people of Ephesus
guy.
refused because it was inappropriate for a god to dictate offerings to another god. After Alexander the Great's death, the people of Ephesus rebuilt the temple with their own funding in 323 BC.
Nice.
With more than 127 columns
Wow.
stacked in 2 rows around the temple, the larger design measured 137 meters in length and 69 meters in width, nearly 4 times the size of
That's
Athens'
it?
Parthenon.
Oh,
Pliny the
4
Elder,
times the size of
famous
that. That
Roman
was huge.
historian, documented the largest version
Pliny?
of the temple, confirming its size and beauty. The Temple of
Awesome, dude.
Artemis
That's so
must have
dope.
been an unbelievable sight. But one might wonder how it compares
Okay.
to this next building, only 200 kilometers away.
let's see.
The mausoleum at Halicarnassus was a
mausoleum.
towering, richly sculpted
Whoa.
marble building in the
Look at
southwestern
all
part
those
of
statues. They're
modern-day
probably
Turkey.
huge.
The mausoleum was built as a tomb for the ruler of Caria and his wife around 350 BC.
Ah.
It
Look at the
combined
dogs
Greek
on top.
architecture with a purpose
Horses or
similar to
something?
the pyramids of Egypt. The mausoleum stood on a high rectangular platform, positioned on a hill above the city of
That's
Halicarnassus.
dope, dude.
The
I would
building
love
is
to live
described
there.
as
I
a
don't care.
multi-level structure rising over 40 meters high, with lots of
Wow.
sculptures and decorations on each level. At the bottom was a massive stone base. A wide staircase led up to the platform, guarded by stone lions and statues.
Nice.
On top of the base,
That's
stood
so
the main
dope,
body
bro.
of the tomb, a tall marble block surrounded by rows of columns. Between these columns stood hundreds of statues, turning the building into a gallery of stone figures visible from every side.
Huh.
Above the columns, there was a roof resembling a pyramid. This rooftop set the mausoleum apart from any Greek temple. At the very top stood a colossal chariot, pulled by 4 horses.
Wow.
But what happened to the mausoleum?
Yeah, what happened?
Between the 1100s and 1400s,
That's so long
earthquakes
ago, bruh.
gradually destroyed the building. Some remaining sculptures are now displayed at the British Museum in London.
Earthquakes, of
However,
course.
the massive marble sarcophagus inside the tomb has never been found.
Yo.
The mausoleum was so influential that the word mausoleum ended up meaning giant and impressive tomb,
Wow.
much like the next wonder, the
Okay,
Colossus
here's
of
the one from the
Rhodes.
beginning.
After the death of Alexander the Great, a war started. Alexander's generals
Okay.
turned on each other, and the empire suffered the wars of the successors. In the middle of the war, Rhodes thrived.
So basically, Alexander the Great was this huge, great leader. Everybody loved him, but whenever he died, people were like, "Who's gonna take his throne?" And everyone fought over it. So all of his best people like died and killed each other because they wanted to be the leader.
City. Perfectly
Man,
placed
that's selfish.
between Greece, Egypt, and Asia, it became one of the most important trading hubs in the ancient
Okay.
world, but also an important target for enemies.
Mm.
In 305 BC, a powerful general named Demetrius attacked the city.
Demetrius.
Rhodes was well protected, but Demetrius brought one of the most terrifying weapons ever built, the Helepolis.
What
siege
the
tower
hell is
unlike
that?
Anything else. It stood around 40 meters tall and
What
weighed
the-
over 160 tons, around the same weight as a blue whale. The attacks went on for almost a year. In the end, the war on Rhodes became too expensive. Demetrius gave up and his army left Rhodes.
Oh.
The people of Rhodes gathered the bronze, iron, and metal from the battlefield. They melted it all and sold it as scraps. The total value came to around 300 talents of silver, an enormous fortune in the
Whatever that
ancient
means.
world, estimated to be worth millions of dollars in today's money.
Wow.
With
Just
this
in
wealth,
weapons
the
and
people
stuff?
of
Wow.
Rhodes decided to honor the god of the sun, Helios, building a statue like no other, something as grand
What
as the
the-
weapon that tried to conquer the city. The greatest sculptor on the island was hired to build the giant statue. His name was Chares of Lindos. Construction began and it lasted for 12 years. The statue stood on a massive stone pedestal, and
Wow.
the sculpture is said to be around 32 meters tall.
That's so dope.
Bronze was used as the statue's skin. To complete the statue, Chares of Lindos had workers build a massive earthen ramp. Unfortunately, the Colossus did not stand for long. In 226
That sucks, dude.
BC,
That's so
only
cool looking,
56
bruh.
years after it was finished, a powerful earthquake struck Rhodes. The statue snapped at the knees and collapsed.
Bruh.
Surprisingly, the people of Rhodes did not rebuild the statue. The broken pieces were left on the ground, and even in ruins, the Colossus stayed famous. People continued to visit the site for over
Wow.
800 years, making the ruins of the Colossus a tourist attraction itself.
It was so cool
why
that
isn't
even when it was
anything left
broken,
in
people
Rhodes
were still
today?
there, bruh.
In year 653,
Did they
Rhodes
get rid
was
of it all?
captured by Arab forces. What remained of the Colossus was melted and sold. According to the story, the metal
Rude.
was carried away by over 900 camels,
Wow.
leaving the city of Rhodes with only descriptions of the legendary statue.
Dude, even if I invaded someplace and they had these huge giant statues, I would leave them, bro, because that's just beautiful works of art, bro. That's messed up.